You can do it too. Easy as 1, 2, 3. You can do it too. Come along and draw with me. Pads and pencils, a very good start. So when you draw with your heart. You draw with your heart, 'cause you can do it too. You can do it too. You can do it too.
Hi, my name is Lydia Forte-Santiago, and I'm here to give you the second lesson. You can do it too. Last week we did the apple and we drew it in black and white. Today we have another apple. And what we're going to do today is we're going to color it in. And we're going to make it look three-dimensional. But before we actually color it in, we're going to study it, we're going to look at it, we're going to see the degradations in color. And the light source, which is one light source, comes from the left. So if you look at the apple, the left is lit. So we're going to keep that in mind. So it's lit up on the left. The right side, which is where we start, is dark. So I'm going to start with the red. This is soft pastels. I have a dry brush, so you can blend it in with this. It's kind of easier than use your finger, because your finger kind of makes it a little messy sometimes. We're going to take the charcoal and we're going to reinstate what we did last week, because we want this a darker shade of red. Soft pastels are very easy to blend. So they're really very easy to work with. Look at your apple. Blend with your dry brush and take your time. It's really a very slow process. You don't want to rush it until you're sure. Gently draw it like we did last week. Last week we did it with the black chalk. Today we're just going over it. So what you're really doing is you're just going over what you did last week. So you're kind of reinstating, but we're going to add color to it. It's good to have a little towel at hand because it gets a little messy. And you can also hold your pastel like this, the flat surface, so you can just kind of get into the paper. This is Canson paper that we're working with. And this is soft pastel that we're working with. The other type doesn't blend in as easy. Right in here, there's a little bit of yellow. We look at our apple, and as we observe it, the right side is always a tone darker. So you change the value tone a little bit. That's what makes it a little bit dimensional, three-dimensional. And we could kind of look from a distance to get the effect of it. Look where your highlights are, and right, and then you could blend them in. The stem has a little bit of a greenish, yellowish color. Now we go back to our dark. Now we're reinstating again. And the reason there's so much reinstating is because you have to make the apple turn. So you reinstate different shades because it's all in the values. And little by little, you start building it up. As I look at the apple right in here, there's just a little bit yellow I see too, so you can kind of throw that in. See the way I'm holding the pastel, so this flat surface right there, it makes it easy to handle. Again, hold it with the flat surface. Your brush. You take your time and you do this very slow, because the more you do it, the better it gets. And if I could do it, you could do it. It's really easy. As 1, 2, 3. Now that happened because I just pressed a little bit too hard with the pastel. Let's add a little bit more red. And now we can kind of put some dark too. Pastels are great because they blend easy. They're soft and they blend easy. And sometimes you could even give it an effect as if it were oil. We have a beautiful shadow here. You want to reinstate that. And maybe we want to put some color on the table, just to give it a pretty effect. You can mix your colors. They're easy to mix. You don't just have to have one color. Sometimes you want to get a different shade, so you want to mix the colors. Stay with it. When you draw, stay with your drawing, because the more you stay with it, the sharper it gets, and your eye becomes very keen. The more you observe it, the keener you become to actually looking at it and seeing the degradation in color and feel it. It takes a little while, but you can do it too. Now this little dry brush is very easy. It's great. Now we'll just reinstate that cast shadow. This is my eraser. You can kind of just highlight that. Keep your paper clean. The bottom of the apple just gets a little darker, only because it's sitting on the table. So you want to show that. You want to show that it's planted. You want to show that it's planted on the table. And the more you work with pastels, you feel very comfortable. They're very easy to work with, because if you make a mistake or something, you could kind of just like go over it. See, so the apple is going round. It's kind of a round apple, so we can kind of make your strokes that way too. Down at the bottom gets a little darker because the light is coming from the top. Now back to the color and fill in there's little paper marks. So we want to fill all that canson paper up. You want to fill it. And there's a little yellow there, just go over it there, yellow. And then we take our white for the highlight. And right here there's a sharp light. And there's a little sharpness here. And you could look at it from a distance and back off to look at your drawing. See, you have to always go back and look because you want to just see that you get your form right. And this is all about form, getting your forms, your shapes. Little by little, you build it and build it. Light there. There's a light there. To look a little. You're always comparing. You're looking to see. The bottom, you just make it a little darker there. And you can reinstate that beautiful shadow. Reinstate it. And just to darken this a little bit. See, I hold my chalk, sometimes like this, rather than holding it like a pencil, like sometimes, no, you can hold it like this, you get different effects. This is a good way. This is a good, see, so now, as we look at our drawing, we're building it up. Right on top here is a nice, rich color. So press that in. Let that come as I'm looking at that. It's all about observing it. Around here, there's another. This is the light side. So this is. Drawing, it's easy and it's fun. But you first got to start with the drawing. Once your drawing is right and you have your form right, you can build the color up. Now, as you see, as I'm going on and I'm keeping at it and everything, sometimes I come back and I look at it and I see it again and I say, gee, I didn't see that. I could do that a little better, and I come back to it. So sometimes you just have to, you don't just finish it real quick. You stay with it for a while. This way you get the real feeling of it. Now I use my fingers a little bit because I kind of like that a little bit softer, not so. I want to make it a little dramatic here. Here's this eraser that we haven't forgotten about. let's kind of highlight this. Cast shadow of this apple to make it look really a little dramatic, a little bit more intense. Like I told you in the last lesson, try to keep your paper clean. It always looks a little neater, and it makes a better presentation. And whenever you draw or do a work of art, sign it. Sign it and put the year that you're drawing or painting. It always has more value when it's signed and dated. And do things you love to do. Find something that really catches your eye, and that's what you're going to do. Because you paint from your heart. You got to feel it. You got to love it. It's a passion, and it's something that we have to, enjoy doing and love to do. Sometimes I press like this also without actually, I just press down and give it like a turn. There's a lot of ways to get different effects. Now right at the bottom of the apple, which we're looking at, and you could see this is really dark, because this is really planted there. So this kind of almost looks black there. That's what makes it, otherwise it looks like it's in midair. And you can put a little light here. Let's lighten this up a little bit. And this side where the light is coming from, we can lighten this up too. It's better to draw one thing and color one thing and stay with one object than do too many things, because at least you focus on one thing. Later on, we can add things. Once you have your form, you can add a pear, grapes, you could do that. But for now, you start doing form, just to get the feeling of it. You want to make it a little easy. This apple has a little yellow too, I see there. Has a little yellow. And a sharp highlight. And I always back up a little bit just to look from a distance. Sometimes if you're too close, it's like you kind of even, it gets kind of, you can't see it. You got to back off a little bit so you can look at it from a distance and compare and see if it needs a little changes. And then if you see something that you felt you missed, you could come back to it. And take your time with it. And always be patient with yourself. It's something, art is something that takes time. And really, most painters and artists, it's a passion. It's something that you, and when you start doing it, where you enjoy doing it, you really love it, you know. So this is the second lesson. And I hope you enjoyed it and you got something out of it. And hopefully I'll see you soon, and we could go into another lesson, and I'll show you how to draw something else, you know? So don't forget, you could do it too. If I could do it, you could do it. So enjoy the art. Keep on drawing. It's fun and it's easy.
You can do it too. Easy as 1, 2, 3. You can do it too. Come along and draw with me. Pads and pencils, a very good start. So when you draw with your heart. You draw with your heart, 'cause you can do it too.